So
Yeah,
I have a question. Technodad, where does the orphan thing come from? Like, where did Techno get that from?
I think I actually know that. There was a mini game that he was playing with someone. I can't remember who. And in that mini game, the world is full of presents, and your job is just to run around and scarf up all the presents.
That one with Skeppy. That was a bit that he did with Skeppy.
Yeah. And being the way he is, he starts to riff off of the whole setup, right? and so he's like, we're stealing these presents from whoever they're supposed to go to, and we're just running around stealing them like with impunity, we have no conscience at all. And the riff continues, and he says, actually these presents were all for orphans. You see, like, he's heightening the transgressiveness of what they're doing. We're stealing all these orphans' Christmas presents. They're gonna get like nothing for Christmas now, thanks to us. And then he said the line, "This is the second worst thing ever to happen to these orphans."
Yes.
And Techno made a lot of jokes, right? He was just a joke machine, but every so often he would hit on a joke that pleased him so much. He himself was so pleased by his joke that it stuck. And the phrase, "the second worst thing to happen to these orphans," just tickled him pink, and he used that whenever he could. And that was as best I know, the whole orphan theme all derives from that game. Grinch Simulator, that's it. Yes.
Oh, I hadn't realized that was the start of that. I've seen that video, but I hadn't realized that was the start of the orphan thing.
Yeah, for like a couple of weeks, he'd like come in the room, and he'd be like, making himself a baked potato or something, and I'd be nearby, and I could hear him say to himself, "Second worst thing to happen to these orphans." He just loved that.
He would actually say things like the video if you don't hate orphans, or something like that. Or like, the admins made this terrible change because they hate orphans. He changed his whole character, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah, he was always on the lookout for, when I was a teenager, you were free to spread hate over a wide variety of groups, but now that's frowned upon. I'm sorry, I better get myself in trouble. Yeah, so you got to think about who you're setting up as a villain. I think possibly a thing that contributed to his use of orphans as target was a Venture Brothers episode. It's the one where Dr. Venture builds a device that it's like this big cylinder, and if you go in there, it reads your mind and figures out what your heart's desire is, and then kind of puts you in a virtual reality version of your heart's desire sort of thing. Super scientist Dr. Venture, and then also present in that episode was Dr. Orpheus, the great magician. Dr. Orpheus is like sensing that something is wrong with this device, that it's like morally wrong. "Tell me how you built this thing." When pressed, Dr. Venture admits that he says, "Well, I might have used orphan." He's outraged. He says, "This machine is powered by a forsaken child." And Dr. Venture says, "Whatever, I didn't use all of it." So Alex found that joke just the perfect degree of appallingness.
He has managed to eliminate all the orphans by having you adopt all the orphans on Reddit.
That's right.
No more orphans.
I don't even ask. I just adopt you guys.